Well, today we've made our way back to the Blickling Hall walled garden here at the Blickling estate in Norfolk, run by the National Trust. It's very interesting to see the progress that they've made over winter. They've obviously had quite a bit of volunteer gardening going on here, and this garden is supported largely by volunteers doing a lot of work under the supervision of the full-time gardening team here. So let's have a little walk around this walled garden and see what's coming on and where they're at. First thing we've noticed is these borders have been top dressed with a beautiful thick top dressing of well rotted, what looks like either mushroom compost or horse manure. It's a beautiful thick deep well rotted layer that they've put on top of this. I'm trying to think what was in this border before, and I think it must be either grown as potatoes or other root crops last year, but nothing's been sown over this. It's obviously just been top dressed at the end of last season. These beautiful wrought iron structures that create these fruit arches through the central walkway here at Blickling really are superb structures and giving a beautiful framework for these very young apple trees. Apples and pears which have been planted along this avenue. It's going to be superb as the blossom comes out. Let's just go and have a look at a little bit of that as it's coming. The underplanting is of catmint, which has been cut hard back and is now starting to shoot. A little bit of weeding work still to be done here, some perennial thistle and a lovely nettle coming up through that. You usually find with catmints they're healthy for about 3 or 4 years before they're best divided and replanted. It's the way we grow them at a farm, but these are looking very healthy indeed. Lovely new fresh growth and almost the sign of a little bit of bud. Yes, at the very tip, first sign of colour just showing in those buds for later on, but just look above them. These beautiful espaliered fruit trees, beautifully pruned back to 2 buds on each of these spurs to create this fan network which is coming into flower so beautifully. So let's see if we can find what this variety is. Hawthorn Arden. Can hardly read that, it's so bleached out. They've planted this with some heritage varieties of apple and pear trees. Let's have a little further walk along this border and see what else we can spot. In the centre of the walled garden the path divides, beautiful iron edging running the full length of this garden right the way up to the old air walls at the edge with the very old espalier trees. But these Cordon pears here are doing very well. Single cordons here, again pruned hard back to create these multi-spurred branching laterals that are where all the flower and latter fruit come. And here we've got a double spur cordon which is grown in a Y shape, centrally split in the middle and 2 arms coming up, and I think they'll probably allow this to do a further spur into the centre or have some other laterals coming away from it, but that one's growing really well. Glen Marceau is the variety on that label, if I can just get that into focus. And behind it a lovely planting of rhubarb. Not forced any of it here at Blickling, let it form naturally. Whether they've started picking that or not at the moment, it's not clear really. But some lovely rhubarb crowns, well spaced again with this lovely top dressing over the ground to reduce the weeding in this massive rhubarb patch. And beyond that we've got some asparagus which should be starting to come through now. Let's just go and have a look at that, see if there are. Oh yes, they should be picking this now. Just look at this. I wish mine was looking like this. On the Norfolk Broads their crowns aren't nearly as established as this, but some wonderful rhubarb behind me and a beautiful sized asparagus bed. I'm really envious of this, I've got to be honest. I wish I'd managed to grow this as well as they are growing here. Some really good, and just look at the tips coming through there. No sign of them picking anything, but they must have been on this by now surely. because this is the full on cropping season starting now for this asparagus. It's starting later than usual here in the UK due to the cold, damp weather we've been having. And in the background we've got those globe artichoke plants now really starting to put some growth on. They'll be with the flower buds for picking later in the summer. So a good deal of work's been done here at Blickling in this garden. Lovely little spread of bluebells just over there. We are hoping to go and see the bluebell woods here at Blickling and make a seasonal video of those, because they should be in magnificent condition. But that's the first little look around this season here in the wall garden here at Blickling.